Okay, so is the volume good? Does the sound good? If you can hear me, let me know. Yeah? Does it sound good? Okay, so what we're going to do, this is the first of a series of videos and seminars because I'm recording this. Now, there's quite a lot of grammar, quite a lot of questions and confusion about what grammar we should use and how to use it, etc. So mainly use of past tenses, passive, and reported speech when you want to, say what the patient has told you. So what we're going to do, we're going to start from the very beginning. We're going to review the tenses. I'll show you. Let me show you this. Now, I've put this. Don't know if you can see this now. Can you see this this chart on the screen? Yeah? Can you see this chart on the screen? So what we'll do, we'll go through the tenses at first, because there's no way that we can comprehensively go through simple past, present perfect, continuous, past perfect, continuous, and passive and reported speech in a single session. That's not happening. So what we'll do, we'll go through the tenses at first as quickly as we can, then we'll focus on the past, and there's some exercises and revision. So I've put this picture in the group, and I've put the PDF file in Easy Class. I've put the book that I'll be using, Macmillan English Grammar in Context, also into the library at Easy Class, so you can download it there. And the homework revision file, I put a photograph in the group. The PDF is available also in Easy Class, and I've put a link in the channel to an excellent site where you can find some good grammar exercises and explanations. So I recommend all of these things. Sorry. So we don't need this. Turn this off. So one reason why I thought we would use this chart is, I know for lots of people it can be confusing just knowing the form, have plus verb plus ing plus blah blah blah, and I think for a lot of people it's easier to have a picture of a tense. So as you can see here, right, this is pretty straightforward. So let me get a pen. Where's my pen? So all of the tenses are based on this. So it's a timeline. So this is the past, future, and where the lines intersect is right now. Okay, so past, present, and future. So in this way, you can see exactly where the events or activities occur on the timeline, which is important when we are telling a story, creating a narrative. When you're writing a letter, that's essentially what you are doing. You're writing a story. So some of this may be pretty easy, pretty straightforward, but still we'll start at the start, and we'll try and get to where we need to be eventually. So first things first, the simple present. Now what I want to know it from you is, what do we use it for? So does anybody want to come in? I'll turn your microphone on. For this to work, I need this to be as interactive as possible. So does somebody want to tell me what do we use the present simple for? Come on. The quicker we get this done, the sooner we'll get on to more important matters. Who wants to tell me what we use the present simple for? Now, it's important not only to know form of tense, but their purpose, right? Azada. So, morning. So, what do we use it for?
Hi, dear Kevin. We use simple present for habits and facts. I think.
Routines and habits.
Yes.
Yeah. So, for example, the sun rises, the sun sets, etc. The train leaves at 6. I go to bed at 7, etc. Yeah, that's it. Daily habits and routines. So you can see here on the timeline, these X's are individual one-off actions, and they cover past, present, and future because it's what we do on a daily basis. Yeah. So the patient smokes, the patient drinks. It's routine. It's regular habits. Okay. Excellent. Thanks for that. Now, present continuous. What do we use it for? Now, as you can see, we've got an action that begins in the past, continues to the present, and it may continue into the future. We don't know. So let me see. Sundip. I'll turn yours on. Hello. Sundip, your microphone's on. Well, I've turned it on, but there's no sound. Okay. Does anybody else want to come in and tell me? And it's better if you turn your microphone on. Can somebody come in and tell me, what do we use a present continuous for? It's best if you come and put your hand up and I'll turn your microphone on. Okay, I might as well just leave your microphone on. Okay, so present continuous.
I think we use it for the action that is currently occurring in the present moment.
So something that's happening right now.
Yes.
And something else, we use it for a couple of other purposes too. Any
I'm
idea?
not sure. I know it.
Okay, you are studying for the OET, yes?
Yes.
Are you doing it right now? The second
Yes.
that we are speaking. So it's a something that, okay. Are you currently working as a doctor? Yes? Hello? Are you still there?
Yes, I was not sure if you are with me.
I'm
yes.
talking to you and you alone.
Oh, okay.
So you are working as a doctor, yeah?
Yeah.
Are you working as a doctor right now, this instant, this?
No. Right now I'm talking to you. No.
So
right.
we use the present continuous for something that's happening right now.
Right now, yes.
It's happening around about this current period, but not exactly now. Yeah.
Yes.
So I am teaching here. Well, I'm not doing it right now in my school, but something, so something that we're doing exactly now. I'm talking, and something that we're doing round about. Now, we can also use it for something else. Any ideas? In the future?
In the future, we have. I think we have a future continuous too, but it would become with will be. I think.
Well, we can also use present continuous to talk about a possible future. I am playing golf this afternoon. That's a possible future. I'm playing golf on Saturday. Am I playing golf right now? No. So we can use it for something that's happening now, round about now, and also one way of referring to a possible future. So it's got several different usages. Okay, now what about present perfect? And I know this is one that some people sometimes have a problem with. Now, as you see, we've got past action connecting to the present. Now, can anybody tell me, what do we use present perfect for? And this is interesting when contrasted with the simple past, because I know people get these two confused. Is it present perfect or simple past? Which one should I use? So what do we do? What do we do with present perfect? What's it for? Anybody want to tell me? No, right. I'm gonna turn your mic on. Hello, 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 hello.
Hello? Yeah. Do you hear me? Hello?
We're still here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello? Yeah, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So we talk about present perfect if something happened in the past and ended in the past, but it still has an effect, has the results still affect us now.
Mm. Do we know when this past action occurred?
If we know the exact date that happened, it will be simple past.
Yes, that's it. Excellent. This is a thing that confuses people. So, right,
Okay.
both of these, we've got a single one-off past action. It's done, finished. But with the simple past, we usually know when. Either there's a reference to a point of time, or it's obvious from the context, etc. Present perfect form, we don't, or it's not important, or that information is irrelevant. It connects past. So we can also use it to talk about the amount of time that somebody spent on an action. Yeah, I have studied the patient. I don't know, the patient what has explained, the patient has presented, etc. So we can use it with several different things. Now we've got something else. What about present perfect continuous? Now this is an interesting one as well. We use it, it's got a particular purpose. Can anybody enlighten us as to what this purpose is? Anybody want to come in and explain present perfect continuous? So has, have, plus been, plus the, plus ing. No, again. Oh, okay. Hello, hello, hello.
Okay, I think it is the same as present perfect, but it takes time. When it happens, it takes a long time.
Well, we use it to emphasize the amount of time that whoever spent on that past activity. So for example, I could say, I'll type it in the chat box, right? So it's about emphasizing how much time you spend. So I could say, I have been living in Slovakia for 2 years. Now we usually use adverbs for and since. Yeah. So I've been living here for 2 years. Now I use this to emphasize the amount of time. So I started 2 years ago. It continues up to now. And importantly, we expect it to continue into the future. So we usually use it with for and since. So I can also say, I've been living in So back here, since 2016. Now I see this quite, I see this misused quite often in letters. You know, people don't use for or since, or they use for or since with present perfect or simple past. We usually only use them here to describe how long that activity has been occurring, started in the past, continues up till now, and we anticipate it will continue in the future. You know, I have been living. I'm still here, and I anticipate I will be here for the foreseeable future. So if you want to talk about something that's ongoing, started, up to now, ongoing, this is the tense. If it's finished and you want to emphasize the time, then we use a different tense. Maybe past perfect, continuous, again, past action, it's finished. But if it's ongoing, present perfect. So I don't know, the patient has been taking his medication for 2 years. A patient has been having palpitations since 2016. I don't know. But if it's ongoing, that's the tense that we use. Now, that's pretty straightforward so far, I think. Oh, hang on. Why won't this let me text? All right. Why isn't this? Okay, right, now, good. Oh, okay, simple past. Right, so, oh dear, get rid of this. Okay, right. So, on to the simple past. So, who can tell me what we use this for? The simple past. Batul. Okay, this is pretty easy.
Yeah, it's easy. Its action happened in the past and it's finished in specific time or period.
And we know exactly when.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, again, this is often misused. I see it in letters quite often. People don't use it, you know. So, in general terms, when you know the past action, you know when it's finished or it's so it doesn't have to tell you in the sentence. Maybe the sentence before, if there's a date, if there's any reference to a past point of time, whether in the sentence or in the context, the simple past is the one that we use because we know when it's finished. When we don't know or when there's not a reference, that's when we use the present perfect. So the patient, so it's like, it might say like, on his visit on the 25th of September, the patient presented, the patient complained, the patient experienced. Yeah, exactly so. The patient experienced a stroke in 2012. So if it's obvious from the context, then that's the tense that we use. So that being said, what about past continuous? Now this is interesting. What about this?
I think it should be two actions which happen in the past. It's like I am studying while, or I was crossing the road when I saw somebody or something.
Well,
I don't know how to describe.
Well, so again, you know, this may seem pretty easy stuff, but you'd be surprised. A lot of people don't know exactly. You know, they might know the form of a tense, but they don't know exactly what its purpose is. So what we do here, as you see, we've got the action. It started here. It was ongoing, and then it was interrupted by something else, usually in the simple past. So I was watching TV when the telephone rang. So watching TV, the past activity, it was ongoing. Telephone rang, interrupted me. Now, maybe it continued afterwards, maybe not, we don't know. But that's what it's for, essentially. When you want to talk about some past activity that was ongoing and it's finished now, but we don't know if it was interrupted or continued after. So the patient was complaining, they were, and then usually there's a reference to, again, some point of time. So that's an interesting tense, that's a useful tense. So some activity, you know, I was watching TV, the telephone rang, the patient was taking her medication until she stopped or something, I don't know. But that's basically what we use it for when we've just got activity interrupted. Now, past perfect. Now, this is one, again, that people seem to have a lot of trouble with. So how it's made, we've got had plus past participle, which is verb number 3, you know. So speak, spoke, spoken, write, wrote, and written, study, studied, and studied, yeah? Sorry. So verb number 3. So does anybody want to attempt an explanation? Does anybody want to attempt an explanation? No, I mean, you can see from the picture, we've got 2 completed past actions, 1 and 2. So we've got some sequence. Does anybody want to try and tell me why we use this or what it's for? So we've got, okay. So we've got the past, begin, began, begun, simple past, verb 3. I had studied before I began. Anybody want to attempt it? Is this too tricky? Ah, okay, somebody. Excellent. Hassan.
Okay, the first one finishing the task before the second one started. So I had studied drawing first, then I began to study painting.
That's it. So we would use this in the context of a letter to show a sequence. Yeah, so this finished, then something else finished. So how could we use this? Can we think of anything? The patient had received, the patient had taken before she had, I don't know, I can't think of anything. But something such as that, yeah? So, you know, so like, and you can change it around. It doesn't have to be past perfect form first in a sentence. Oh, somebody wants to come in? Sure, I'll turn your mic on. Hello, hello?
Yes. Do you want like example?
Well, I mean, you know, I had graduated from university before I left the country. So, you know, so all it's for, really, and this is the thing that...
So the 2 action is finished, yeah, it's already finished.
They're both done.
Yeah, and
but
the past perfect, we don't know the exact time or something?
Well, we want to know which event finished first.
Okay.
That's what it's basically for. So we've got 2 past events. So they studied, they began, but what's the order? What's the sequence? That's why we use it. Because if you look at these charts, we've got 2, but which finished? Which is which? So the past action was completed before the second. I had studied before I began. So that finished first and that finished. Usually The simple past, past perfect is the one that's farther back in time.
Yeah, before the past simple. Yeah.
Usually the one.
Yeah.
And when we come on to reported speech later on, sometime this week, you will see. So you know how reported speech works. The reporting verb, well, the main verb, if it's a present verb, goes into the past. But if it's already a past tense verb, it goes farther back into past perfect. So I am talking. He said that he was talking. I went shopping. He said that he had been shopping. Yeah. So it's farther back. It's farther back. So usually past perfect is the one farther back before the simple past. Okie doke. Now another one. What about past perfect continuous? Does anybody want to have a go? Now, if you look, you will see present perfect continuous, pretty similar, past perfect continuous, and future perfect continuous. Here's a clue. All three of these are to emphasize the amount of time that you spent on an action. So this, I've been cooking all day. I've been cooking I've been cooking all morning. I've been doing the ironing for 2 hours. It's to emphasize the amount of time that you've been spending, and it's still on. Past perfect continuous is the same idea, but it's finished. The same idea, to emphasize how much time you spent on that past activity. I had been studying. The patient had been taking. You know, so you say the patient had been taking a paracetamol for 2 years until his condition was eased or his symptoms stopped. I don't know. Something such as that, yeah? So it's the past activity. How long had that action been occurring? Again, when it's interrupted by a second past action. Now, does anybody want to have a go? Anybody want to try and explain this a little bit more? Try and think of some examples. It's basically the same. It's about emphasizing how much time you spent on that activity. How much time? I mean, you know, for 2 hours, I had been. So it's in the past. If you look at future, it's basically saying, but that you anticipate the amount of time that you'll spend in the future. So does anybody have any questions about past perfect continuous before we move on? Anybody got any questions or comments about any of these so far? Since, what's it? Oh, Batul's back.
Yeah, hi. If you want like writing one sentence with the past and then we said and, so the other sentence should be in the same tense, yeah? Do you understand me?
Well, no, it doesn't. It doesn't have to be. I mean, it depends what you are trying to express. Can you give us an example? Can you type some example into a chat box of what you mean?
I don't know, to be honest. When I write sometimes, I said, yeah, when I write the letter sometime, like she had like hypertensive and had diabetes, or no need to be said had diabetes or has diabetes. Like,
oh, right. So well, that's basically you're talking about linking, connecting ideas.
The linking. Yeah, this is
that's well, if they both happened referring to the same tense, you can use it. So I'll just type this. I don't know if you can see the chat box on.
Yes, I can see.
I'm not Is it on the screen? If you can see it. So what was the example that you just gave?
Like Mrs. Smith has diabetes and has hypertensive. I need to say has also hypertensive or just he has diabetes and hypertension? We can say as that.
Mrs. Smith has hypertension. If it's at the same time, no. That's not really a tense issue.
Yes, it's not
a connection issue.
Yeah.
So I mean, if the two are related, you can simply use and, or if they're not directly connected, you can put a comma. There's hypertension. But now, usually, if you're writing a list, the last
list, this is
usually has and. So you'd say so, like Mrs. Smith has hypertension. I don't know, whatever.
Operation in the past and like.
Mrs. Smith has hypertension, bad breath. I don't know, and diabetes. Yeah. So if you've got a list, well, yeah, I couldn't think of anything else that fits. But if you've got a list, usually the last one begins with and. But if you've only got two, then just use and. If it's both at the same. So here has, it's simple past. She has has hypertension. Well, no, sorry. It's present simple. She
continue. Yeah, should be present.
Has it now. Yeah. So if it was in the past, so Mrs. Smith has. So she's got hypertension, diabetes now. Okay. Yeah. So you can just use and if they are both at the same. It depends if you say Mrs. Smith has hypertension and used to have. So she used to have it in the past, but she doesn't have it now. All that she's got now is hypertension. So you've got a couple of different tenses in a single sentence. And that's perfectly fine. So Mrs. Smith has hypertension now, and she used to have, but now she doesn't. So hypertension, yeah. So that's more like a connective thing, really, than a tense issue. So past perfect continuous. So anyway, we'll just have a quick run through these futures. We've got 6 minutes left. And then what we'll do, I don't know, probably, Tuesday maybe. I'll try and run a session every day this week. Well, with the exception of tomorrow, because I've got quite a lot on. But this week so far is a bit quiet. And as you're taking the exam next weekend, I'll probably have a session Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe Thursday and Friday as well, if I've got time. So let's have a quick run through of the future forms. These are pretty easy. So who wants to tell me about future simple? I mean, if you look at the chart, it's obvious. Anybody? Or is it so easy we don't have to explain? Well, it's what we anticipate. I will study, I will work. It's a single action. Yeah, single action that we anticipate. I will arrange a consultation. I will request admission to the hospital. I will, etc. That's pretty easy. Yeah. So you can use it because you will be writing a mixture of active and passive, because not every sentence works in active and not every sentence works in passive. So you'll be using a mixture of forms. So if you want to refer to some future action that you might take in your letter, you can certainly use it. I will request, I will consult, I will admit. Yeah, I will arrange, I will order, etc. That's pretty straightforward. What about future continuous? Anybody want to tell me? What do we use that for? Anybody want to tell me? Anybody? Well, again, it's pretty easy. It's what you anticipate, some continuous future action. I will be studying, the patient will be taking, the patient will be seeing, you know. Continuous future action. We expect it to continue. I will be seeing Mr. Smith again on Tuesday for, I will be seeing Mr. Smith next week for a consultation. The patient will be staying in the hospital, then he will be released or discharged. It's pretty straight, you know, straightforward. Now, the last two, a little bit tricky. I want to get these done. We only have a couple of minutes left. What do we use future perfect for? Now, as you see from the diagram, we've got two actions, yeah? In the same way, past perfect, it's the same thing. To establish which we expect will finish first. Yeah? By the time you by the time the patient arrives at the hospital, I will have finished his referral. I don't know. By the time the patient arrives into your care, the lab results will be finished, or something such as that. Yeah. So it's the same idea as past perfect. You've got two future actions and you want to say which will be, you know, finished before. So it's basically, again, establishing a sequence. Yeah. The lab results will be completed by the time the patient is admitted, by the time the patient arrives. So you could use it in such a way. Anybody want to have a try of future perfect continuous? Right, okay, we only have a minute and a half, so I'll explain. In the same way, it's about what we anticipate, how much time the future action will occur. So I will have been studying for 2 hours by the time you arrive. The patient will have been taking his medication for 2 weeks before his operation or something. I don't know. But that's what you could use it for. The amount of time you anticipate some action will occur. Okay, so that's a very quick review of the tenses. What we'll do next time, we'll specifically look at the past, because I know that's a problem, or possibly look at passive. Let me know in Telegram what you want, and I'll see you there in a moment.